Peace, family. This is your boy Jero. It is the 30th of June, 2020. How is everybody doing? So, you know where I'm at, sitting in the garage, getting ready to start my day. And I had a comment on my inbox. And first and foremost, if you have any questions, concerns, um, topics of discussion that you wish for me to talk about, inbox me. That's what it's there for. Just as with all my videos that I've put out through the years, if you feel that it can make someone better, share a little light on a scenario or situation, share it. That's what it's for. Each one teach one. So I'm out here, got the little oscillating fan going. I gotta go. I'm down to my last 2 days uh, assigned to my command. Tomorrow will be my last official work day, and they're having a luncheon or potluck on our shift um, for me, and I'm humbled because I didn't have to do that. But giving 12 years of dedicated service, unconditional support, and trying to live the best example as a fellow coworker, that will be my legacy for my command. So, on the sidebar, to go back to what I was saying, someone asked the question, Gerald, why is it that when you're going through something, it seems like the ones closest can't relate? And I told them that I would respond, and this is for you, and this is for someone who may have also pondered the same question. Why is it that when challenges arise and all you want is clarity on how to navigate through it, the people that you seek advice, they're unable to give you the answer that you desire? Well, for that, you also have to look at it from a perspective of maybe by chance said scenario is something they have yet to master. I say that because from a direct family connection, you already know who you can convey your thoughts compared to how they're going to react. But as from a parental standpoint, it is your responsibility as the parent, as the guardian, as the person that has been placed in your life to, number one, protect you from yourself. Also, to ensure that you are afforded the best quality life that you should. But that proverbial word, life, there is no rule book. There is no directionary guide that is issued the moment that you take your first breath. That is why experiences can tend to be habitual, while other times can feel fly by night. But depending on what is being revealed, you're afforded free will to receive it. See, we as human beings, but spiritual beings first, we tend to want the most direct route into whatever the problem solving is. And at times, we may have all the needed information, but the block is accepting or acknowledging what is being presented. And so what we will do is we will try to proverbially take that same scenario, spin it around, no different than a cube trying to fit it in a circle. We'll try to look at it, we'll analyze it, we'll try to find a way where there is no way until frustration comes or the denial breaks. You know, you've always heard your elders say pressure breaks the pipe. But you'll also notice some tend, when it comes to crisis, when it comes to upheaval, when it comes to problem solving, think very, very well on their feet. While others, depending on what is being offered, how it's being displayed, will freeze. That's why sometimes you may have a scenario and it feels like you are proverbially in a holding pattern in your life. You may even get to the point where you're saying, hey, okay, I don't have the tools to conquer this problem. So you will turn around and find an impasse and set it to the side. It may be time sensitive where you know that you have an objective that you must meet, but because of other set objectives prior to that, you know that it is continual, or what I call a living constant. Well, I can't get to Z unless I start at A. And from A, I must see where B is going to fall, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. But for some, that's not good enough. For some, that's not the route that is being accepted. So, let's go back to why is it that the same energy that's being displayed is not embraced, reciprocated in kind. It seems like there's an emotional disconnect. You might as well be talking in a foreign language, even though they already know what's going on. 9 times out of 10 they do. But I believe that, number one, this is your story. This is your journey. And to go forth on that journey, you must put your feet down. Because how are you going to know the foundation that you stand upon, as well as what resonates in that beautiful mind? How are you going to know? Sure, it's going to be scary. I think one of the most scariest things that the human dynamic has to deal with, other than acceptance, is acknowledgement. That's where pride and ego and denial does so much work, wreaks so much havoc. Because, you know, as I mentioned a couple videos back, we will second guess ourselves before we'll be open to sit down and have a dialogue to have truth. At the end of the day, you know what you need. You already know. But the question should be asked, if you know, what are you willing to invest to secure it? Sure, there are plenty of people out there that says, hey, look here, I got an inside track that can get you here. I got a shortcut over there. This worked for me. Perhaps it could work for you. But what we fail to realize a lot of times is we project the things that we don't receive, that we don't willing to invest in ourselves. Now, granted, knowledge is a tool, a valuable tool. But until we can actually be transparent, you realize how many people walking around in a life that's not theirs? They got so much emphasis in the facade and securing the imagery of the said facade, and then they're wondering why there's a void. They're feeling numb. They're feeling hollow. You feel unappreciated. You feel, unfortunately, not loved. You want to love yourself? You have to deserve to be loved. And what I mean by that is, if you really want to usher what that is, you got to secure the relationship with the person in the mirror looking back. And see, that's a constant problem because listen, kings, queens, you know I love you. But how long are you going to think this is going to work out if you keep running from yourself? I'm willing to do these concessions as long as I don't look at the true problem. I'm willing to entertain this milestone, but I'm not willing to accept the outcome of it. That's no different than somebody investing their time to educate themselves for a degree, and you walk across stage and you realize that investment has no weight and you hate your job. Why were you doing it to begin with? Were you doing it to appease your circle? You realize how many people got degrees and they were... See, parents tend to love too much. You say, well, you're going to be a doctor and you're going to go to this school and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And I got a jet flying over me. They go through all that, dedicate all that time, and then they realize that their passion wasn't in the medical field. Maybe they wanted to be an architect, or maybe they wanted to go in public service. Maybe they wanted to join the military. Maybe they just wanted to be. So, to get to the point of that, you have to be transparent with yourself to accept what makes your reality. What makes your reality? Do you like what you see? Because you have to acknowledge what is being offered. If you don't like it, it should do one or two things. First, acknowledge what is being offered. Second, make the determination and accept what you're willing to accept. If you don't like if you're in a job, you have a job, but it's not a career. What's keeping you there? If you have a group of friends, you invest all your time, but the same energy that you put out is not reciprocated. I saw something today on social media where this guy, you'll probably see it today too. This dude was hanging on the side of the passenger side door, and I guess that was his ex-girlfriend or someone of significant, and he would not let it go, and the car was moving. Why are you doing that? I'm a firm believer, family. The one thing that I learned this year, and you've heard me echo this 1,000 times. Sometimes you got to get out of the way of others so you can see your true path. And sometimes, no, all the time, the one thing that will stand out more is truth. And that's the problem. You hear a lot of people saying, oh man, I got no cut cards. I shoot straight. Well, if you shoot straight, then you should be able to stand on whatever you decide. Let's get in these relationships. You know, 50% of the people that are in relationships, only 15% will have longevity, because the 35% is based off of security. Why? Because they didn't have the conversation. And then you hear this as a response. You've changed. When in actuality, changing and growing should be the same. Your relationship should be the nucleus of your motivation every day. But it starts with yourself. I'd rather be happy and by myself and sleep well at night than to be with someone that will never have my best interest. And you see it all the time. Oh, first it starts with insecurities. Insecurities being projected out. Then the insecurities have words attached to them. And those words are not flattering. They're not meant to empower you. There's a difference between critical or constructive criticism. But when it's constant digs, this is what I don't get. You do know your mate is a representation of what's found in your state of mind. I've said this countless times. If all that is in your environment is drama, you got drama. Otherwise, you wouldn't see it. You wouldn't have access to you. But let's not remiss this. One person cannot hold on to the responsibility of two, because they are the walking, talking example of what should be found illustrated in their behavior, because they see their value and worth in themselves. But guess what? They should not or ever do anything to sabotage you. Now, I know we see situations where it's not balanced. You got Gabriel sitting on the computer, and the energy that he's on the computer doesn't balance what goes on outside his door. Or you got Charmel, and she has embraced a entitlement mentality. Oh no, I ain't gotta do nothing. I'll do the bare minimum to yield the maximum in return. First of all, no one can do anything to you that you won't allow. And if you're with somebody where it feels like you got to pull teeth, pull them along, convince them to sell the deal, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. Can people change? Every damn day. Every day. But the greatest change is done behind scenes. Because you don't need permission to be you. You don't need permission to make modifications for your best or greater good. I think sometimes we get caught up on the materialistic thinking that that is the emotional band-aid for what does not work. Well, I know I disrespected her, so I'm going to run out there and get her that purse that she wanted. That's going to patch things up. Or I'm going to have some act right, and then when I think the coast is clear, I'm back on it again. No. You stressing yourself out, they stressing themselves out because you're both playing a part that should be found in a movie than living your life. So let's go back to that again. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about siblings. You know, one thing about siblings, the dynamic of siblings, you have to deal with nepotism. You got the scapegoat. You got the golden child. The golden child pretty much has life offered. And unfortunately, because of how the dynamic was established, there may be some favoritism there. But really, that is nothing but an attempt from the parents to booster up what they lack. Who am I talking to? Now, I'm saying this because when you put all this to the side, you hear me talking to you? You still got work you got to complete. You have so much at stake. And it will not come to pass until you do it. So, when we talk about misery being an endless table with countless seats waiting for you to sit down, maybe, just maybe, what you're seeing illustrated is the fact that because they know the moment that you stop progressing, you won't leave them behind. Who am I talking to? You got that family member or that friend that just can't get it together, and you have issued so much compassion by your time. You listen to their questions and concerns, and you're objective about how you respond, even if it means this ain't your cup of tea, and you can't give the proper advice. Now, because, look, we all walk in different shoes. There's a commonality across the globe. And one person's challenge may be someone's walking apart. That's wisdom. That's what wisdom's about. So, by you allowing yourself to respond, react a certain way, because you don't get an outcome that you don't desire as an offering to you, What is being offered is for you to be acknowledged what is being shown based off how the value and the priority that they see you as. But then that'd be too much truth now, wouldn't it? That would be too painful at times. That's why we have people walking around with daddy issues today, mama issues today, abandonment issues because of failed relationships. Maybe those relationships dissolved and failed because God knows you deserve something better. You do understand when a blessing comes, first of all, anything that you require comes from your house, from your heart, not your mouth. And that's how he judges us. And one thing, we can agree that he's a selfish, loving God. So with that being said, we also know this. Just like a person doing 4 years of investment into education to get that degree, they get the accolade, not the circle. They get to bear witness of completion. So with your blessing, it's the same way. Why am I, speaking if I was Most High, going to afford you said opportunity when you're in the same environment that wasn't being afforded to you prior to you embracing the change? He's not going to do that. He's not going to use your experiences to come up. So what he does is he'll delay it. And the reason why he delays it is he wants not only for you to assess what has been transpiring unequivocally, but he's asking you to move. He's saying, you're in that abusive relationship. They don't respect you. Because if they respect you, they would protect you. At a minimum, they would be transparent. At a minimum, you could have the conversation and feel safe in the process of no matter what the dialogue was being exchanged. So when you deal with people that have access to your life and they turn around and do not respond in the same energy that you offer, or they look at you like you're talking in a foreign language, don't take it personal. Because maybe that's something they have yet to be transparent about themselves. You hear people say all the time, my mom never supported me on nothing I did. All she did was put me down, Well, maybe that was the same thing that your mom never mastered. So how can she give you sound advice? Same scenario. You have people that are raised in toxic environments, and you say, well, my dad was never there. He didn't love me. My mom, all I saw was countless boyfriends. This is Mr. Jones. And the outcome was the same. A bunch of chaos, a bunch of toxicity. Even in that toxicity, there was still insight being afforded to you on what you don't need compared to what you deserve if you go deeper. All in all, what I'm trying to say to the intended heart and tender mind is this. No one is going to walk in your shoes. No one will see what you see. There'll be a select few that can relate to a degree, and that said few they'll be offered access to your life. See, that's one thing about God. He will give you what you need in His time. That's like no different than you turn around, you go in the store, you take $2, you buy a lottery ticket, you hit, and then just as quick as you got it, just as quick as you lose it. Happens all the time. But until you learn to see the value of a $1 bill, will you actually respect the resource that was being offered? And sometimes that can be a blessing in disguise. Because there's countless people that have access that are miserable. They're miserable. Because it is the little things that mean the most. You think they would love to just get in their vehicle, go to the store? I mean, look at the celebrities. They lived a sheltered life because they have to. You know, we live in a world where you've got a lot of people that don't mean you well. But lastly, I think for some of you, you've been milling over the fact that your relationships have to progress or they have to be purged. Don't be afraid of that. Don't. They can't go where you're intended to go unless they're ready. I could turn around, you know, like the proverbial saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I can give you all the insight in the world, but if you're not ready to receive it, you'll never grow. There is no shortcut when it comes to being you because you were made perfect to begin with. Who am I talking to? Sure, you can invest in a distraction. Oh, well, you know what? If I wear my hair a certain way, I wear this type of outfit, I'll be in the club. You ever been in the club when the lights come on? You don't like what you see, do you? That's why everything is done with certain mystiques, certain imageries, certain illusions. Now add a little alcohol, now you're distorted. You're not going to see the small print. You're not going to see the hazards. You're not going to see none of that. So, all in all, why does it seem that when you're going through challenges, the people that you turn to for support can't support you? End goal is this: the intended people will. But it starts with the person in the mirror looking back. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Well, got to go off to work today. And then tomorrow's my last day. You guys have a blessed week. Be safe. Stay grounded. Stay prayed up. Always speak your truth. But always stay vigilant. Why? Because you're blessed.